Hello! As hopefully you've probably gathered, my name's Derek Bailey. I've been a wood turner now for over 40 years and taught up to now for the remainder 8 years. If you've been following this series of videos about the wood carving jig, ornamental wood carving jig, you'll have seen me start from scratch basically and design the whole thing and come up with something that hopefully will be beneficial to creating embellishments on previously turned work. Now it's quite difficult because the jig is made out of wood, it's not made out of welded metal and fabricated, so I've had to incorporate quite a few modifications as I've come across various problems. Anyway, I've got to I've tried to incorporate a versatile carving jig, and in this video you'll see that I'm making an attempt to do some radial flutes and radial embellishments on a saucer that I'd previously turned. I'd say it was about 50% successful. It's nowhere near to the standard that's required really, and there'll be more practice I think needed in order to achieve something that may be worthwhile. Anyway, that hopefully will become apparent in this video, and I hope that you're still with me in this journey, and well, that's enough waffling, let's get on. Here I've just completed a pattern I quite like, which I'm going to introduce into the mahogany saucer. There's no point in me showing you the actual drawing of the pattern because I illustrated that in my previous video. Again, my impatience shows itself in false cuts. It's a habit I'm getting into, in that I'm too busy concentrating on producing the pattern that I don't focus on the placement of the cutter against the wood and inspect it before I make a cut. Well, needs must, and I'll carry on. This time the cutting error has been produced by me slightly lifting up the base of the carving jig from the bed of the lathe, resulting in a wavy cut. It's getting quite difficult to use this jig without concentrating. I'm testing how easy it is to replace the item to be carved, and placing the tip of the cutter against previously carved embellishment to see if I can reproduce things accurately. In order to achieve a smooth rotation of the annulus, I need to slacken off the screws which hold the annulus together to allow the annulus innards to rotate freely. I'm putting a drive centre into the chuck so that I can establish the centre height of the cutter, which I didn't on the previous cutting process. In order to make the annulus more rigid from up and down movements, I had to remove the bulky stops that are on the perimeter of the annulus. In order to incorporate a brace for the upward and downward flexing, I had to apply an extra ring on the annulus, which had a dovetail slot machined in it, so that I could put machine screws to act as stops. Now I've finished the radial flutes, I'm repositioning the cutter at the beginning of one of those flutes and use the movement of the annulus to create a secondary embellishment at the top of each of the radial flutes. As you can see, I'm adjusting these stops on the annulus ring to set a smaller embellishment curve by the rotation of the annulus. As you can see, I wasn't concentrating. Notice the gap between the beam at the back of the lathe and the stop on the base of the jig. When you're testing out something, it's very difficult to focus on all the caveats that come into fruition. I'm sure with a bit more practice and getting used to this equipment that I can produce more accurate results. The main problem with wood is its flexing, and when you're doing precision cuts in ornamental turning or ornamental carving, it's essential that you get repeatability in repositioning the cutter against the wood. And wood is rigid if you make it bulky enough, and that's the problem. It gets bulky. It gets difficult to manipulate. Things don't move smoothly, and the result is basically errors. You get a lot of errors like this. Repeatability is quite difficult. I'm going to keep persevering with it because in principle I think it's a reasonable idea. I've tried to stiffen it up a bit by putting this vertical member here and tightening it so it doesn't flex downwards. The stops here don't position the wood against the beam at the back of the lathe too well. I might have to redesign the shape of the stops so that I can get a repeatability in repositioning the cutter. If I make a slight error or undercut, I want to be able to introduce the cutter to the wood in the position that I left it when I moved it away, and that sort of repeatability is essential. I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet. If anybody's any suggestions, feel free to let me know. It's been a good exercise. I'm going to persevere with it off camera and see what I can achieve, and then I'll do another video and a final video and a summary on the effort I've put in and was it worth it. But up till then, I hope you have a good weekend or a week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.